Hello. Did you know that 42% of people age 50 and over feel like they're behind in their retirement? Don't let the could've, should've, would've catch you off guard. I happen to have gotten laid off in my mid 30s and I had a severance package. And this is also when you roll over your 401k when you leave a company. And so I had to go seek out a financial advisor. That was really the time where I started increasing and boosting my financial literacy. My financial advisor helped us understand what income streams, what retirement might look like. Financial literacy is incredibly important, especially as you approach retirement. Understanding all the ins and outs of your finances. And it's okay to not know, but ask. And I've always said it's okay not to know for 5 minutes. Ask questions, talk to them, schedule another meeting. Say, hey, I know I just met with you, but I started thinking about this and I have some questions, or as I was looking through my notes, I wasn't quite clear on that one thing. Again, I'm not a financial planner, so please talk to your financial planner, ask questions, go do your research. But I am passionate about sharing my experience to help you increase your knowledge and your success. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, one of the concepts that's super important to understand is as young as possible. Teach your kids. Compound interest is super powerful. When we start saving for our retirement, it's not instant gratification. We're not going to get to $1 million in a month or a year. And so while compound interest is great, it's a long game, right? It's a long game. So, but the magic starts happening during the end part of that game, right? So looking at this table, it shows if you were to put money down every month, and the first column, the no growth, this is just putting money in an account and looking at the years go by, how much have you put into that account, right? The next column is the 8% growth. So that's an average of a good retirement account. And look at the compound interest now. So look at the 1 year. Nothing to write home about, right? So but you got to get excited about compound interest. So the earlier you start, the longer you leave that money in, it's going to start growing because the interest is calculating on your deposits that you made years ago. So it's going to get growing and growing much faster, like a big snowball. So that's exciting. So compound interest kind of is the foundational piece that you need to learn about this. Income streams. So know the ins and outs of your income streams. If you haven't already, write them all down. Start kind of a log of what are all the accounts that you have. We have a couple annuities. We have rolled over 401k in my IRA. My husband had IRAs. We have a couple Roth IRAs. It starts counting up all the different accounts that you have. And then you might have your own savings account, like an emergency fund. I had a company that I worked for, and apparently they had a pension. I left with a 401k and some severance, but I was reading my paperwork a lot of years later, and something triggered that I could start taking my pension early because of the severance. So I called and said, what is this about? And they said, well, you have a pension. I'm like, are you kidding me? So while that, again, is not much, it compounded because this was in the mid-90s when I left. I just started taking that income stream mid this year when I retired. It's not much. It's $600 a month, but every little penny counts, right? No matter what that income stream is, make sure your beneficiaries are caught up. That's a good spring cleaning thing. Go through all your accounts, log in, call them, and see how your beneficiaries are set up and if they're set up. I had a couple that were missing beneficiaries actually. So that was a good exercise for us. Find out how do you take that income stream when you want to start it. And what are your options when you want to start it? Well, this pension that I talk about, it had all kinds of options. How much do I want? When do I want to take it? And we decided that we would take a hit on the monthly income to choose the joint 100% death benefit to continue the monthly lifetime income. And so we chose that. Ask those questions. Those are the kinds of ins and outs that I talk about when I say financial literacy. Ask the questions. How does this work? How do I know how much I'll get? When can I get it? Does the amount fluctuate based on my choices? Do I have an option of a joint 100% continue the benefits to my spouse upon my death? So Social Security, we're doing a lot of calculations on how much I will get if I take at 62, if I take at 65, if I take at 67, if I hold till 70. That's the other thing for getting all your income streams figured out. Do they grow over time? I have an annuity that grows at 6.5%. I have my Social Security that grows at 8%. And I have my IRAs that's invested. So it's really about how much the market is making. So you kind of, that's where you need the financial advisor, unless you just want to do it DIY. But that's where you're going to put this puzzle together to figure out, when do I start taking some of these and when do I hold? So the other thing on income streams is 401k. So we talked about Social Security, we talked about pensions, we talked about annuities. Annuities is where you make a capital investment for income, guaranteed income for life at a later date. So your employer may offer a 401k. Ask these questions. Do you match? What are the rules on the match? Do you match 100% on the first 3% of my salary? Do you match the first 5% of my salary? I was very lucky, my company, and I was grandfathered in, that my company was 150% on the first 8% of your salary. So my 401k grew pretty fast, which was great. So 401k is pre-tax money. You're not taxed on that money. You put it straight from your paycheck into your 401k, and you can contribute up to an IRS deductible limit. So for 2024, that's $23,000. So you can put $23,000 a year into your 401k. The choices you have here, sometimes not everybody can afford $23,000 away from their check. So one of the tricks here is to figure out what the match is and put at least what the match is. So if the match is 5% of your salary, put in 5% of your salary and get 100% of that match. It's free money. So don't leave that on the table. And then every year, if you can, increase it and get back up to that IRS deduction limit. It does go up every year, so check to see what the new IRS deductible limit is. And then for those of you 50 and over, you can even put more into your 401k. So the catch-up is called a 50 plus catch-up. So for 2024, you can put another $7,500 a year. That's awesome. Especially when you're 50 and over, right before retirement, you start stuffing that 401k as much as you can. A lot of companies will have a Roth 401k. This is not pre-tax money. So this is just money that you're going to pay tax on, and you're going to put it in your Roth. The idea of the Roth, though, is that, and back to the compound interest, right, is that as that grows, as you get earnings in your Roth, you can take them out tax-free. Everything you take out of an IRA is taxable because it was pre-tax money going in and it made money while it was in there. So it's coming out, everything's taxable. You can have a personal brokerage account and you can have an IRA. And if you've left a couple of jobs like I have, you've been rolling your 401k as you leave a company into your personal IRA at a brokerage account. So you can contribute to those as well. Now, if you've contributed 100% to your 401k, I believe you cannot contribute to your personal IRA. Again, when you get your taxes done, if you use a tax person, if you have a financial advisor, they'll help you figure out what you can still put in based on your current year taxes and income, and whether you can put stuff in an IRA or a Roth. So consult your financial village there. So to summarize again, ask about your 401k, ask about the match, put in as much as you can up to that match, if not more, and up to the IRS limit, you'll be golden. Check the vesting rules, especially if you're going to be leaving the company, and take advantage of the 50 plus catch-up contributions. Now, I threw one thing here. It's not a retirement account, but it can be in a way, is an HSA. So if you have a high deductible medical, you may have an option to have an HSA through your company that you also contribute to. It also has IRS limits of how much you can put into an HSA. This HSA is a health savings account, and ask the questions. Is this the one where if I leave the company or if I retire or if I get laid off, I can take it with me? And those are awesome. Stuff it, make it as big as you can, and take that HSA into retirement with you. It's been super helpful for us to pay our deductibles, to pay our medical expenses out of that HSA that I took from the company, because I put as much as I could. I maxed it out. It also has a catch up. So after 50, you can put in more money. So I would highly recommend it. And the amounts are by year, they're IRS amounts, and so you can find them on Google. So we talked a little about Roths. I'm kind of in that camp of coulda, shoulda, woulda. I put some money into a Roth, but I didn't focus on Roth, and I really wish I would have. That compound interest, starting young, putting money, even a little bit of money into my Roth would have made my Roth account more significant than it is today. It's really not worth talking about. I don't have much in there, and I wish I did. So I would rethink that, figure out how you can put money into your Roth. Again, Roth is after tax money. There are thresholds. Your tax professionals, your financial advisors can help you with how much you're eligible to put into a Roth. It also has a 50 plus catch up. So if you're 50 or over, take advantage of that catch up. I did learn something in doing some research about this, also because I didn't really pay attention to my Roth. My financial literacy was a big old D. Earnings that are in there have to sit in there for 5 years. So I won't be able to take advantage of those earnings because I waited too late. But I can take out any of the money that I put in there, but it's already taxed. But the earnings that it makes, that's tax-free. But if you have to wait 5 years for your earnings to sit in the Roth, that's a long game for me. So whatever I convert from my IRA over to my Roth now, those earnings will have to sit in there for a while. Okay. So let's talk about spending plans. Do you budget? Bottom line, do you do a budget? Do you have a realistic budget? Do you know what your realistic budget might be? So these are good habits if you haven't retired yet. These are good habits to start now. Some facts are 1/3 of the Americans don't actively track their income and expenses. Many of them cited a lack of budget to poor retirement readiness. Lack of budget leads to financial insecurity and overconfidence in your sense of retirement. I highly recommend starting a habit of having a budget. We've budgeted for years. So we had that good habit Was I budgeting everything that came out of our check into categories? No. So one of the things I've done since we've retired is I'm really trying to get a handle on what our spend looks like, which means that I'm spending more time dissecting the categories. Once I get comfortable with that, I'll go to higher level categories. But how you start that is you make a list of your categories of how you want to analyze what you spend. At the end of the month, have a little sit down and go through what you spent in all your credit cards in your checking account, and analyze how did you spend that, and is it coming close to what you think your income needs to be for retirement per month. I have another video on budgeting, so I'll put a link in the description. But I highly encourage you to start figuring out the details of that budget. So challenge you. Go do your categories, start figuring out how much you spend, put a budget together, and do the analysis at the end of the month of how did you do against your estimate. That's really the key. Okay, number 5, outstanding debt. You really don't want to take debt into retirement. You're going to waste that income stream on past purchases. 4 out of 5 retirees are carrying debt into retirement. Retirees are citing credit cards are the culprit. So before you retire, if you haven't already, start paying down that debt. Don't take debt into retirement. I have another video on paying off debt. There's a bunch of very popular ways. I take and look at each one of those and demystify each one of those payoff methods. I talk about a couple other methods. And it's really about your personality of what's going to keep you motivated, because it's a couple year journey and some sacrifices that you're going to have to make, and the mindset that you have to have in order to pay that credit card debt off. So look for the other video down in the description. Did you know people over 65, if they do have debt, their average debt is $31,000? And that's not including their mortgage. So it's consumer debt minus your mortgage, right? So 31,000, taking 31,000 is a couple thousand a month of payments that you're going to have to find your income for. Being debt-free going into retirement is the best thing you can do for yourself. Number 6, formal retirement plan. Did you know that nearly 40% of workers over 55 have not calculated how much they need to save for retirement? This lack of planning can lead to inadequate preparation for retirement. Preparing for retirement can be daunting, especially if you only get serious 5 years before your retirement. Remember, you're losing out on that compound interest. You want to start early. Financial literacy is extremely important, especially if you want to make any of those adjustments. Consider a financial advisor. Ask for a fiduciary. These are ones that don't sell products. They don't make commissions on products that they sell you. Start meeting with one early. Get free consultations. Even if you only meet with them once, the education you'll get will be valuable. Many individuals find themselves unprepared due to lack of knowledge and some key critical activities that could have been game changers. Start your education. Learn as much as you can about various income streams. What do you have? What might you want? Know the details of your budget, how much you spend now and how much you're going to spend in retirement are going to be key numbers you're going to need for that formula. Do you have any consumer debt? Do you have a plan for paying it off before retirement? Think of savings you can do once you pay that debt off. Do you have a retirement plan? Have you met with a financial advisor, or are you engaged in proactive retirement planning? It's never too late. One more thing to talk about. I have bonus content. There is a tax credit for those that are contributing to their IRA. They're available for people that have an adjusted gross income of lower than $76,500 for married or $38,250 for a single person. Now, these are 2024 numbers. Check the internet for what the new IRS rules are. Look up Secure Act Law or Savers Credit and find out about this. So how this works, let's say you're married and you make under the $76,000 and you contribute $4,000. You can, depending on your income, so there's a 50%, 20%, 10%. But let's say that you're pretty low and you're down in that $46,000 and you're married and you make a $4,000 deposit to your IRA, you can get a $2,000 tax credit. Now, that's not a deduction to income on your taxes. That's a tax credit. So it is a credit to the tax that you owe. That's pretty valuable money. So if you do qualify for this, I would, and it's a 50% payback basically, right? You contribute $4,000, you get $2,000 back on your taxes. That's an awesome credit. So look into that. If you qualify for this and you have anything that you can put into your IRA, this is also a great tool and incentive. To wrap things up, we've covered a lot today. It's never too early to plan for your retirement, and there are steps you can take at every age to engage or getting the most of your strategy. There's adjustments you could make. Financial literacy, asking questions will help you make the most of your savings and give you game-changing actions you can take today. So the big secret here, the most critical insight for transforming your retirement planning is to adopt a proactive mindset. Think compound interest. Start early. Also, think about that Roth. Put as much as you can in there. It's all about taking charge of your financial future instead of waiting for it to happen. I encourage you to invest in your financial literacy education. Start setting specific goals, like saving a certain amount each month, learning about investments. Take action. Whether it's meeting with a financial advisor, simply starting a savings plan, taking that first step is what's going to set you apart. And I'll tell you, automatic savings works better. So if you can set up something to move money from your paycheck straight to a savings account, if you have an automatic transfer every month to a savings account, that's going to work better for you. This isn't just about saving money. It's about creating the life you want in retirement. I wish you the best of luck. I'd love to hear from you. What other tips do you have? What can you share with this community? Please comment, please like, and subscribe if you felt any of this was valuable. I really am passionate about sharing what I've learned in preparing for my retirement and living my retirement. I want us to all live our best retirement in the silver lane. Participating in the comments will help push this content out to more people and help them as well. I really do appreciate you watching. There are a couple other videos this is a series. There's a couple other videos. One is paying off debt. The other is creating a budget. And there'll be more in the series. So watch my channel, look for new videos, and make today ridiculously amazing. See you in the next video.